Hello guys, so this is the tutorial for how to practice IELTS by yourself. Okay, so with the link I sent you, there will be 4 folders here. Okay, so but I only have, so for today I only focus on test prep books because I don't have time to prepare for the others. But I think the very first stage, you focus on the preparation, the very basic preparation for IELTS. Okay. So when you receive the link and access to this one, there would be many subfolders inside. But to me, as my in my advice, I would say only focus on expert IELTS and mindset IELTS. So I will put the 3 folders in under one thing called mindset. Okay, so the mindset would be from the Cambridge and the expert from Pearson. So when you access the folder, okay, so I will start with mindset, by the way. Mindset 1, mindset 2, and mindset 3. So if you start with around band 4 or band 4.5, you should start with mindset 1. But if you think you are capable of band 5.5, then you can move on to directly to mindset 2 without having to worry a lot. So in mindset 1, okay, so I will take mindset 1 example. Okay, so inside here there would be 2 setup book. Okay, so I forgot to include one more, which is the teacher book. Okay, so hold on. Okay, the teacher book. Okay, and I know shows you how to use the teacher book as well. Okay, here the teacher's book over here. So there are 2 parts. This is the student's book, and the teacher book is waiting to upload. So I will open the student book here. Okay. So when you open it with the PDF reader, it look like this. So because as you know, when we study both reading and listening, we will focus on both, let's say, question types, and we build strategies upon the question types. So for instance, okay, so board here. Okay, so I will type right here instructions to to use mindset IELTS. Okay. So I would say both readings and listening. Okay, so you will study based on question types. Okay. Okay, so for instance, okay, hold on. So it always starts with reading. So when you start the readings, you must know, okay, what you will have to learn in that specific lesson. So for this one, you would learn how to identify keywords and then to find specific information. And through this lesson, you would learn how to answer short answer questions. Okay, so pay attention to this because we tend to use like variety of books in order to target just one type of question types. So therefore, you must pay attention to, because we study short answer questions. So later, if we want to enhance your capacity to target this kind of questions, you need to do a lot of practices, right? So which I mean that you have to use different books as well. But when you use different books, you have to look for the similar question types to to learn it. Okay, so basically you will have to follow these, do every exercises. So usually they will have a lead-in for you to learn the vocabularies. Maybe I would use Mindset 2, so it would be easier for, let's say, higher level students to comprehend. Okay, so Mindset 2. Okay, because I'm running too many background tasks at the same time, so it slowed down my computer. Okay, so let's get started with Mindset 2 then. Okay, so for this reading, you have to learn like skimming and scanning, and okay, the topic is the man-made environment. Okay, so you have to go step by steps, and when you do the exercise, you look on your right hand side here. There should be tip. So when you do the exercise and you look back to the tip, you will learn. Okay, so what specific strategies or things you have to focus on specific test type. Okay. Um, Another thing is because they have the teacher book. Okay, so the job of the teacher is to teach student to understand the material in the book. So when you self-study, for example, we are studying reading over here. So at the same time, you go to teacher book, and let's say, okay, here you are. So when you see, for example, up here, okay, for number 6, they do have answers to the questions, but at the same time, they have the explanation and to instruct teacher to help student to understand specific things. So as a student, when you study by yourself, you do okay. Not only do you have to answer the questions, get the answer. Okay, look up with the explanations. Okay, so by that you can understand what's behind it, the insight of the test type. Okay, so you just finish your lesson with reading. Okay, do a couple of things. Okay, do from top to the bottoms. Okay, look at the answer from the teacher book. Okay, compare it, and at the same time you would. Okay, so when you finish everything, okay, usually with the reading that there are two. Okay, so there are two readings within one test type, but I don't think it would be enough. As you remember, we study short answer questions, right? So the next book would be the Expert IELTS. Okay, so in the folder right here, you as you can see in the folder. Okay, so in the folders here, if you study Mindset 2, when you go to Expert, it would be equivalent to Expert 6 in terms of level difficulty. Okay, so as you remember, we study short answer questions in readings, right? So if you want further practices or you want further instruction, tips and tricks within that same test type, you go to Expert 6, open the book, go to, let's say, the lesson map. Okay, so it's say like the content maps. So see here, under the column readings, you will see where is short answer questions. Okay, so it should be up here. No. Reading, matching, sentence completions. Okay, so you see, short answer questions under base 88 and 89. So let's go to 88. Okay, so as you remember, when we study with mindset, we study the topic man-made environment. So which means you study the vocabulary set under that topic. But when you switch to another preparation book, you would have another opportunity to study with different topic. So which is here, living with our environment. So now you have a second chance to study with the same text type with different sets of vocabulary, and maybe you would learn some tips and tricks of that. Let's say like different books, they have different style to instruct students how to gain the knowledge of that specific text type. Okay, so for instance here, you could also do the same. They always start with vocabulary learnings, and they do have tasks, and with the instruction beside you can do it. The same thing go with expert 6. So when you study with expert, you also look at, okay, so you go to, okay, so you see the folder right here, teacher resource. Okay, so go to teacher resource. You know this one here is module 6, right? Module 6A. Okay, so we go to teacher notes and photocopiables. Okay, and we see here U6. So you open the U6. This is a note for the teacher. So when you open the U6, you would be having something like this. So we are under the readings, right? Okay, so readings by 88, 89. So they do have the instruction to teacher as well. So for instance, if I have to answer 3A, okay, I believe that some of you have studied this one before. Okay, those 3A's, they ask the questions. Look at the underlined phrases in the passage. Which two phrases introduce the cause of something? Okay, so now as you look at the paragraph, the passage, to answer the questions, when you finish answer it, you trace back to the teacher book. Okay, so for number 1, they have an answer, but above here you will see. So the purpose of this, you get students to read the first 4 paragraphs and focus on the underlined part. Okay, some students may find cause and effect language challenging, so make sure they understand what each phrase means. So when they instruct the teacher to help a student with cause and effect language, you know, okay, so the focus here, you have to study about like phrases which help students to understand about like cause and effect within a sentence. Okay, so when you do it, you learn it and you just follow it. Okay, so you would do the same thing with listening, back and forth. Okay, so when you finish with reading and listening, you can study. Okay, I don't suggest you to start writing and speaking right away, because those two skills are hard to practice by yourself. But when you study with these two books, I mean like the mindset and the expert, they have like the vocabulary and the section for you to learn about the grammar and vocabulary. So so you combine it. Okay, so and one more thing with Expert IELTS, they do have things called test practice lessons. Uh, so when you finish one module, okay, so with one module they usually include 4 skills and vocabulary. They have like 6 A's. Okay, so you see here 6A and 6B. So when you study both sides, and when you finish one module, you would have a test. So you want to check whether you understand everything. They would have the one called assessment module test. Okay, so you do test, and then you compare the answer with the answer key. If everything's perfect, then I believe that you learn something from that lesson. Okay, so that's it for the preparation instruction for only listening and reading. So for next time, I will instruct you how to use writing, how to do writing and speaking, and how to use supportive materials.